Good afternoon, or morning, wherever you happen to be when you see this. Um, Welcome to some reflections on week 2 and also some thoughts about week 3. The first activity is one which is a bit dear to my heart, about how well we make connections between the diploma core and the subjects. Now, there are some schools where this genuinely happens, and particularly where TOK and CAS and the extended essay have some timetable time. In this group, the school that Elizabeth works with in Jakarta actually has timetabled core program, and this did include all 3 elements of the IB Diploma Core, the Extended Essay, CAS, TOK, and also the ATL's Approaches to Teaching and Learning. Personally, I thought this is a really good idea. It gave the chance to have links between CAS and TOK, which I think are invaluable because CAS creates knowledge, TOK is about how do we know. And also, it did encourage the subject teachers to think a little bit more about how they link there. The biggest problem I see is that in many DP programs, people are just so simply busy with teaching their own subject that they tend to stand in their own little silo, and that there isn't much effort to make a connection between CAS, TOK, the extended essay and their subject. Of course, with the extended essay, they may be forced to because they may have to supervise an essay. If you think about it, the CAS stages could be used as a way of preparing, looking at the research process. Okay, so then moving on, there was an exhaustive examination of the CAS stages, and basically, I think what came across from that was that the students should be using these if they're going to thoroughly plan and carry out an activity. A couple of other things I think that the scenarios highlighted were the importance of students taking initiative, the CAS coordinator being available and making time to support the students, and some thought about how we're going to reflect and also demonstrate. Now, this is something which comes across in a couple of the posts about identifying the stages, that people aren't so absolutely sure about demonstration. So demonstration really means, in the context of the CAS stages, that the students are able to demonstrate what they know. Now, to my way of thinking, is in the case of the student who actually designs the poster about food consumption and its ethics, the production of the posters themselves actually demonstrate some things they've learned. But you'd also think that their ability to reflect on that, on maybe to write a blog or whatever about the process, would be another way in which they could actually demonstrate what they've learned. Then we had the interesting situation of looking at the simulation of the homeless. Now, it's very clear the students prepared the investigation and planning seems to have gone very well, but it gave the impression, which several of you pointed out, that they hadn't thought through then what after the event. So were they going to make connections with the homeless? Were they going to find out how much impact they had with other students through that survey? That was the thing which struck us, a lot of you, about the need for sort of further follow-up and real identification with homeless people. I can understand in some contexts where it would not be possible to actually live out being with the homeless for one night. And so I can understand why that actually occurred. Moving on to week 3, the first learning engagement involves you working in a group. I've posted the groups on the announcement, and it's really up to you to make contact with the other people in the group early in the week. It's very frustrating if you're working in a group and someone just doesn't respond. And please be aware of that you need to make an effort to contact the other people in your group and to discuss how you're going to approach this. And a lot of emphasis is put on one of the most significant parts of reflection in CAS, and that's the formal interviews. And also some thought about the sort of questions that you might want to ask if you're in that situation. You get the opportunity to listen to a student's interview, and that should give you some idea of what to expect when you're doing it yourself. The last part of this is this week it could be a bit challenging for some of you who aren't actually CAS coordinators. If you're not a CAS coordinator, what I want you to do is to make up an imaginary portfolio for a student at your school that would have completed CAS. Those of you that are already CAS coordinators, then if you can access the school records, then delete the student's name and put up a record of the portfolio. And the portfolio really is about a record of the different things that the students have done. It should, of course, include reflections. But what we're really interested here is not so much a huge collection of reflections from the student, but more an outline of all the activities they've actually carried out. So, an interesting week for week 3. Can I remind you, please, to particularly now as we're on holidays, to try and finish your posting by Sunday so that you've got a chance to actually have a look at other people's posts and to comment. Okay, look forward to reading your posts and seeing your work. I'm doing my best, as I'm also, like you, on holidays at the moment, to stay up to speed with your posts and reflections. And I'm making an effort to see everybody, at least one post of every person, respond to at least one post of every person in each of the modules. Now, you will have realised actually I've done a lot more posting and a lot more comments on things. And I'm looking forward to seeing what you have to offer for this last week. And don't forget to look in the announcements, because for Learning Engagement 1 and Learning Engagement 3, you're working with someone else. And those names are listed in the announcement section. Have a great week. Take care. Bye.